In the previous lecture, we added actions to the user module, but we have yet to actually update the isLoggedIn state. Let's get around to doing that by implementing two mutations within the user module. So I'll add those right here within a mutations object and add a login mutation with a state parameter and the same for the logout mutation. So implementing these mutations is just a matter of setting the state, right? Well, yes and no. The state is within the store and not the user module. So how do we set it from within the mutations? The answer is that we don't. We cannot access the root state within mutations, and even if we could, that would be a bad idea. That would very quickly lead to code where the state is set from modules all over the place, making the code very hard to read and maintain. Instead, let's move the state to the module. This makes sense anyways, because it's really related to user management or authentication. So let's go to the main.js file and cut this state out right here and move it to the user module by pasting it in here. Of course, it was convenient to be able to access the state directly on the store. If we wanted that, we could easily just implement a getter on the store, which returns the state from the user module, as you saw earlier. Implementing the mutations now is as simple as just setting the isLoggedIn property on the state object that is passed as an argument. So let's do just that. For the login mutation, we can just write state.isLoggedIn equals true. And I can copy this for the logout mutation and just set the value to false. Then we just need to update the getter to use the local state instead of the root state. So up here, I'll just replace the root state parameter with state, being the local user module state. Finally, we can just commit the mutations as normal within the actions, so nothing special in that regard. So let's do that. First, the login action. I'll just invoke commit and write login. We don't need any payload in this case. And I'll do the same for the logout action, except of course specify the logout mutation name. Let's open up the browser and see if we can still log in and out. Indeed, it seems like we can. So everything works as before. We didn't really do anything that we haven't done before in this lecture, but the important takeaway is that mutations cannot and shouldn't access the root state. Instead, mutations are passed the local state for the module.